Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to round 24, Dodgy Punts, Just the Tips edition, where Jesse and I go head to head in a battle of wits, sure, to see who is the best tipper of the year. We are here, Jesse, or that is Jesse. I'm Liam. Hello, welcome. You can find us at Dodgy Punts on Instagram, made podcast on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, all the fun places where you listen to your fun stuff. But we're here, Jesse. We're at the business end of the season. Some people would end the season right here. Are we going to do that, Jesse? Are we going to do that?
Well, no, because we need content.
Ah, yeah. The dirty C word.
Now, to be clear, this will go one of two ways. If I win the home and away season and the final series, then that was always the plan. If I win the home and away series, but then lose on total because of the final series, this was to please you and our lovely viewers, and I actually won. Any other outcome where you somehow win this, it's corruption, and I still win. Okay. Just to be clear.
Fair. That's fair. You'll never take me down, Jesse. You'll never know how I've fooled you. You'll never know how I've corrupted you, but I have. It is.
Was it by tipping West Coast?
Shut up. Listen. Well, look. While we're here, we may as well get to the tips and see where we're at, because we've got 2 rounds to cover. We weren't here last week. I was off enjoying a little gallivant overseas. But we have 2 competitions here. We have our tips, which is just a regular old tipping competition. You get it right, you get a point. We also have confidence points, Jesse. Give the lovely listeners a quick rundown. You did it so succinctly last time. Let's see if you can do it again this time. Tell everyone what confidence points are.
9 games, minimum point allocation of 1, maximum point allocation of 9. You cannot repeat your points, and it becomes very tactical when it's a one-on competition, because you have to consider both your level of confidence in the actual result and what your opponent's level of confidence may be. So one thing that I've found in this competition, Liam, when we do this, is I'll often change my confidence points on the fly. So you might give me Team A by 3, and I might think, well, I think Team A can really get a hold of Team B. So I might chuck them in by 7 and change my points around mid-show. Now, does that make it very confusing maths? Absolutely. But does it add an extra layer of fun into our competition? I would say so.
It's always fun for the edit too, getting to change your number halfway through. Like I put it in because I listened to it. I chuck in your 4 and you're like, wait a second, 5. Little transition. It's quite fun.
And to be fair, I always act in good faith when I realize I've made a duplicate.
Of course, Jesse. We have banter, but if not anything else, we have integrity in our competition.
I don't cheat in this competition.
No.
As evidenced by the fact that I'm not going to complain if I win.
Oh, and you're winning currently, which is great. Which is a great segue into our scores. Now, I took a bit of a lead into round 22, but round 22 was weird. So here's how that rounded out. You got 3. I got 1. Good. Thanks, Port Adelaide, for coming through just in that round. You got 15 confidence points. I got 9. Roll that into round 23. Last week, you got 6 tips. I got 4, which takes the total to 122. Jesse, 121. Liam, very close indeed.
Very close.
Confidence points wise, you got 30, I got 26, bit closer, but that takes our total to Jesse 234, Liam 227. So coming into this round 24, it's all to play for. If I really go for broke in this round, the finals might not mean jack anything. So that being said, Jesse, I was a loser last week. No, you were the winner, but you get to choose. That's how this works. I just got so used to picking for a few weeks. No, it's not. What? The loser gets to choose?
Loser picks.
I don't think that's right.
I'm almost certain that if you watch the show that you are on, that it's actually
that I edit. That I'm on, that I'm edit. But no, because I chose for like the 3 weeks before this, no? Or did I not? Who knows?
What did I always used to say? Loser picks, right of tip or right of reply?
My barley brain is still strong, my friend. All right, then fine. I get to go first. Have I had any thought about this? I have not. So do you know what, Jesse?
Are you, to be clear, are you tipping first or are you deferring?
I was about to tell you. If you just shut up for a second and let me
We said I was going first. I was trying to support our listeners and viewers. Given you've already botched this start.
I have not. It's kind of my MO, actually. Botching something in the start in some capacity. That's what I do. It's part of my charm. I'll go first, Jesse. Do you know why? Because I can't stand being called a coward. You do it anyway. You'll do it again, even if I choose a team that you don't like.
You've wanted to avoid tipping first on Geelong versus West Coast. You coward.
Well, did you forget about Melbourne versus Collingwood on Friday night, did you?
No.
No. Well, I'm going first on Melbourne versus Collingwood. I get what you mean now. Barley brain. Let me go first. Let me go. I would like to go. Have I forgotten anything else, Jesse? Can I go? Can I go?
You may.
Okay, so who's up first?
I've already rattled you. I'm already inside your head. First up on Friday night, we have Melbourne versus Collingwood at the MCG. First of all, bravo AFL. You delay the final round fixturing for so long, and you service up a game that quite literally will mean nothing. Sorry, there is a 0.0001% chance that Collingwood can make the finals. However, seriously, this is the Friday night game.
Yeah, well, look, and it's funny because like during the week they were all like, when Collingwood beat Brisbane last week, they're like, oh, they're still alive, the minor premiers. They literally have to have a 200-point swing between our game and another game. I'm pretty sure it's the Carlton St Kilda game. It's not going to happen, guys. It's not going to happen. But then Freo drop out and they're like, they're dead, they're done.
Well, they
a spade,
are,
a spade. No, a spade though, right? A spade, a spade. Call it like it is. Collingwood are done. They're toast. Collingwood with 7 for me. They're going to win by 160. No, I think this will be a nice send off for Collingwood. I think they're going to want to finish off strong. Melbourne haven't been that convincing this year. I think that they've got a lot of issues going on behind the scenes. Closed door meetings apparently at the moment as well. Ooh, a bit of a coup on the horizon, may we say? But at this stage, I think Collingwood are playing much better footy at the moment. It's really hard to tip against them, and I'm so confident, Jesse. I'm putting 7 on it. I'm putting 7. Not much more to say. What do you reckon?
You are confident. I'm going Collingwood with 5. I share a similar level of confidence, but I need to save up some bullets in the chamber for later on in the round. For me, this could potentially be the last game we see Simon Goodwin coaching the Melbourne Football Club. I believe we're getting to a stage where the club needs to make a decision on that, and we're potentially straying into a big loss here is it. Melbourne were good against the Gold Coast last week. I think that's an improvement for them, but they are missing key players. And that's the first time we've seen all members of the Melbourne forward line function together. So is that an anomaly, or is that going to be the new norm heading into 2025 and beyond? If it's the latter, they have a chance to start putting some momentum together for next season with a couple of wins late here. But I just need to see that Turner-Van Rooyen combination really work for 2 weeks in a row before diving in. So Collingwood for me with 5 confidence points as we roll into Saturday. And this is where finals moving and shaking gets a little bit chaotic. Saturday, 11:45 Perth time. Geelong play West Coast at GMHBA Stadium. Now, we're not even going to bother with any jokes. We're not even going to bother with any jokes here. Geelong with 9. If they don't, I'll be absolutely gobsmacked.
If the Eagles somehow win this, it'll be A, the upset of the year, and B, mightily hilarious. Because after what they dished out last week, going into this week, that'd be crazy.
It would be a incredible reversal, and Geelong, simply put, they need to get the momentum going. They've gotten some wins on the board lately. They've shown they can. They just need to tick this box, get through the game unscathed, get the 4 points, guarantee themselves top 4. I don't think Geelong are a side that will want to play an elimination final. I think no side will, in all fairness. That's a stupid comment. But it's certainly in terms of the fact that they've been top 4 just about the entire year. They will feel as though they've earned this spot. Now they need to go out on Saturday and solidify that. So Geelong for me with 9 confidence points. Liam, I think you did the same. No real reason to deviate there.
No, I definitely chucked in the Geelong with 9 whilst you were talking. I just slipped it in there, and there's nothing much more to say. If Geelong lose this, I'll have a shot of Jaeger. Sure.
You go for it. Moving on to the other Saturday early start, this time at 12:10 as opposed to 11:45. It is Richmond versus Gold Coast at the MCG. Now, Liam, you messaged me during the week, over-unders for the crowd attendance here. I've said 16,000. That's in real danger of not being met, I don't think.
I mean, what did Melbourne get for their game where they were fighting for finals? They got about 16, I think. Richmond don't tend to get a big crowd when they're playing away teams, and also when they're not doing very well. That's two crosses against the mark. I reckon this might be one of the lowest recorded crowds at the MCG. It might be buoyed by the fact it's the last game of the year, for both teams. It might get a few more Richmond supporters through the gates, but I don't think so. I think it's going to be a sad one, I think. But I'm tipping first here. I'm tipping first. Wow. And hopefully, I've tried this a few times. It's only paid off twice, I think, this year, if you did tip them. But I'm doing it again because I'm crazy like that. Richmond with 2. It's got to come true at least one time, right? And it's got to come true at least one time. They've been so bold and so so brazen the entire year, and they've always given it a crack. And I think this might be the time. Last game of the year, why not? It's Gold Coast away, even though they've got one under their belt. Hey, Richmond, come on, do it, you cowards! One time.
This was the game I was really happy that you chose that you were going first on, because I'm in lead protection mode here. I have no incentive to tip Gold Coast in this game.
We actually randomly bumped into each other at lunch today and said we were going to send each other our tips beforehand, just so we could have no shenanigans in the final round. Did we do that? No, we did not. So here you are with your advantage still in hand. Silly me.
I have zero reason to tip Gold Coast here. And that was before you said you wanted to tip Richmond. So I'm actually happy because I could give the people at home my actual tip, which is Richmond, while also protecting my lead. However, in saying that, I think Richmond with 1 confidence point, purely because I think both teams are genuinely rubbish this season across the board. Is one team less rubbish? Probably. Can that team be Richmond on Saturday? Hopefully. But I think for Richmond, Dylan Grimes retiring, end of an era, Shai Bolton's likely last game in yellow and black, likely Liam Baker's last game in yellow and black, potentially Daniel Rioli's last game in yellow and black. There's turnover coming in this list, and I get the sense this is one of those games where there'll be a lot of emotion, there'll be a lot of, I guess, reminiscing, and really, I think the curtain officially coming down on the Richmond dynasty. Realistically, we know it's been dead in the water for a couple of years now, but this really does feel like almost like the final show on the tour, and you want to sell out, and you want to do a nice way to end the Grand Tour. So for me, Rich with 1 confidence point. Gold Coast, I just don't think there's a real incentive for them to care in this game, and they looked checked out last week against Melbourne at home. I don't know how they're going to fare with this game.
Yeah, I think that's a big point. They look very, very checked out last week, and I agree. And hopefully, all those things you said about the players leaving, hopefully that gets a few more Richmond faithful through the gates, because there's nothing worse than watching a game of football and an empty MCG. Who's next? Who we got next?
Next up, we have the University of Tasmania Stadium, which will be full of $60 patrons when Hawthorn take on North Melbourne at 2:35 WA time on Saturday afternoon. I don't think I'm going to shock anyone when I say I'm tipping Hawthorn in this game, and I don't think I'm going to shock anyone when I say I'm tipping Hawthorn with 8 confidence points. Now, they get the caveat of North Melbourne can sometimes be really good, and it's very fun to see them be good. However, Hawthorn play Tasmania extremely well, as do North, to their credit. But Hawthorn, this is a great opportunity for them to solidify their top 8 spot, to tune up the band. They have a lot to play for. North simply don't. They will have pick 2 next year. I don't think that is really going to change unless they get absolutely belted and Richmond belt the Gold Coast. So they're probably fundamentally safe for pick 2. They're not going any higher than that. There's no massive incentive here. They'll obviously want to get some momentum going and keep working on those finer skills under Clarkson, but simply put, Hawthorn have infinitely more to play for than North do. I don't see a reason to go with anything else but Hawthorn with 8.
Fun. Hawthorn win. Fun. Yeah, they're Hawthorn with 8. It can't really be anything else. I think this one and the Geelong game are the 2 locks for this round, out of any of them. It'd be good to see North finish off strong, but I think Hawks are going to absolutely pants them. All right, let's move on to the next game, Jesse.
Let's go up to Saturday night footy at the Gabba, Brisbane hosting Essendon for the Bombers' final game of season 2024. There'll be no participating in finals. There'll be no winning finals for the Essendon Football Club. But you already knew that second part, didn't you? Now, Liam, you're up first here. Who are you going with for the first of our 2 Saturday night games?
It has to be Brisbane, right? It has to be Brisbane. I know we spoke about it in the podcast main where you were like, man, not so strong on it. I think that if Brisbane, like, people are already talking about, it's the weird thing about this year. Like, teams are like, they're going to win the premiership. They lose 2 games. They haven't got a chance. That's Brisbane at the moment. They haven't got a chance. So I think they need a big, strong, resounding win in this round to really send them into the finals strong. Brisbane with 6 for me. Jesse at the Gabba should be an easy feat.
Yeah, Essendon on the beach. Brisbane with 7 for me. I broadly echo your sentiment, Liam. incentive is massive for Brisbane. They fell out of the top 4 last week. They have a chance to get themselves back in it this week. They also need to solidify their stance as the fact that a club, likely a Victorian team, will be at the Gabba in 2 weeks' time. So they do not want to be demonstrating any form of weakness for a Hawthorn, for a Carlton, for a Western Bulldogs, for a Fremantle. That is absolutely worst case scenario for the Lions, that a team like Hawthorn comes up to Brisbane smelling blood in the water. They need to win. They need to win with a level of comfort. And I think with a rudderless Essendon, they can go and get the job done. And then we move on to the second of the Saturday night games at the SCG. We have potentially I don't know if they're the best or the worst top side. I think it might be the worst top side of all time, Sydney, versus the convincingly best 15th place side of all time in the Adelaide Crows. This is a weird year. These two teams were the same team last year. And now they've both, when one hasn't lost by 112 points, and that team is 15th, one side has lost by 112 points to an Adelaide side that said team lost to by 20-odd points just last week and is 15th. So figure that out. Please go forth. Go forth and figure.
It's a strange season. It's a strange one. It's a weird one. Has been the whole way. Now,
I'm up first here. I am up first here. I'm going with Sydney. Don't think that's going to be a particular shock. I'm going with Sydney with 6 confidence points. Adelaide are the greatest 15th showmen, but we're back on the beach. Adelaide cannot go higher than 15th. They cannot go lower than 15th. We know exactly where they're going to be when that final siren sounds. This game, functionally, means nothing to them. As far as I'm aware, they have no major retirees to try to send off into the sunset. Excuse me. There's simply no reason for them to particularly care, especially away from home. And to be honest, after the last few days, I'm not really sure there's going to be a lot of heads in the right space at the Adelaide Football Club. Off a showdown that just seems to keep on giving issues out of it. So Sydney with 6 for me, Liam. Where are you landing on this one?
Yeah, I got Sydney with 5. I think fairly similar to what you just said. I think it's going to be Sydney's last chance to really solidify themselves in their top spot. They're not going anywhere. And I think you raised a good point. Like, I'm not going to say they're the worst top team that's ever existed, although they probably are. You might have a pretty decent shout with that, actually. Who knows? But this week they're gonna wanna come out and win. Gonna wanna. So, Jesse, laugh at me, please. We gotta. Thank you. No, I think Sydney with 5. I think it's you've said everything needs to be said. Nothing more to add, Jesse. I just realised though. I have realised something.
What have you realised?
Fuck, I should have let you go first. So silly.
See, I was doing the maths before you told me that we were going to go into finals.
This is the problem. This is the problem, Jesse. You math. You think, right? You strategize.
I think more than 10 seconds ahead of my life at any given time.
That's not me, my friend. That is not me. Everything I do is on a whim. Like the confidence points I've put against these people have only just come to me like before we started recording. You know, I've only just realized I should let you go first. Now, and we're about to go into the Sunday games. Jeez Louise.
To be fair, you've given me a curly one where you might be able to sting me, potentially, but I'm just going to play defensive for the next two that I have. There's no need to be aggressive here, but I only have 4-3-2 left on my confidence points. So I've got fairly low confidence. So we both have fairly low confidence, which makes me think you ought to just do something mad in that last game of the round, something stupid. Maybe you can think more than 10 seconds ahead of yourself at a time, even if that thought is wrong. Let's start. Let's talk about Super Sunday because 3 teams are fighting for one spot in the 8 that play on Sunday. All 3 teams need to win to be assured of their spot. Dogs can't make it if Hawks, Blues, Dockers all win. So they have to go and beat GWS at 10:30 in Ballarat, which is a weird place to be. Take it away, Liam.
Fun tidbit, my parents are currently in Ballarat. And
are they really?
They are. Yeah, they are. And Mum loves it. She's been sending me really nice messages about Ballarat.
Are they moving to Ballarat, Liam?
Oh, definitely not. No, that was that was laced in sarcasm. Probably didn't put it across that much because I was thinking during when I was saying that, I was like,
No, it was like
no.
one of your Tasmania spiels where I thought you were being serious.
No. Apparently, it's not the best town in the world. But hey, she lives in Freo, which is one of the best towns in the world. Actually, that's probably not true. I am rambling tonight. GWS. I'm going crazy this Sunday. I'm going absolutely bananas.
Before we go on, are you just doing the clearer path so Fremantle can make the finals tipping in the last round?
No. No, I actually generally think that GWS can beat the Bulldogs.
Okay.
I think that, I mean, the Bonafides speak for themselves. They are fighting for a home spot, a home final double chance, a Sydney double header at the top of the ladder. You know, there's 2 teams on this Sunday. You've got 3 teams fighting for finals, 2 teams fighting for a home qualifying final. That's what they call them, right? It's a really weird thing to call them, but that's what they're called. But that's where we're at, right? It's not just those 3 teams. There's other stuff being played out on this Super Sunday, and one of those things is the Giants getting a double chance. And I think they'll do it. I think they've been showing a lot of good footy this recently. That's all I got to say about that. They're going to be great. They're going to win in Ballarat. If they get the wind right, that's the problem. The wind is the problem in Ballarat.
Yeah, I pretty much agree. Giants for me as well. I'm not clearing a path for Fremantle, although my tips, well, this tip at least will suggest that I am. GWS with 3 for me. On the positive for the Giants, they're in the best form in the competition. The negative for the Giants is they're probably playing the second best team in the competition based on current form. And that causes problems. Now, the Giants are going to face a Bulldog side that will be in 7th position by the time this game is played. Because Hawthorn will jump them and they will then settle in 7th. That means away final. If things don't go well for Brisbane, that potentially means away Brisbane final. Or if they then lose this game and only one of Carlton and Fremantle win, that means away Brisbane final also, which is not a good scenario. Simply put, the Dogs can avoid all that by winning. There's plenty of incentive for them. The counter to that is I think this Giants side is potentially in a higher ladder position than it should be. However, they're winning games. And these are the sides that can really capitalise on double chances. I think GWS is everything that Fremantle should have been in the last 6 weeks. They've been that prototype. They've played the right football. They've worked together well. They've gotten big impact from their key players and also had some role players really elevate themselves to go with the trip. So Giants for me, 3 confidence points, a tough game.
Tough game indeed. Oh, well, let's move on to the next one. Second last game of the round. Jesse.
Super Sunday continues at 1:20 Perth time with Carlton hosting St Kilda at Marvel Stadium. I'm up first here, and this is where things get interesting.
Indeed, they do, yes. We've been the same the entire time so far.
We have.
It's been all the same. So it's, confidence points are going to be close this week regardless.
Well, luckily for you, Liam, if you go and dig around Optus Stadium, I'm sure you can find a Carlton scarf to slap on for this tip because I'm going with St Kilda. I'm going St Kilda with 4 confidence points. Now, simply put, St Kilda's structure is perfect to take on this current Carlton side and what Carlton have. Carlton have limited ability to effectively transition the ball via key forwards with no Curnow and no Mackay. That plays into the hands of a Ross Lyon zonal defence because you can have Wilkie, you can have Battle, you can have Hunter Clark just chopping these things off. This could be... We saw what Carlton can do scoring-wise against West Coast without Curnow and Mackay last week. However, I don't think this is the same game. This is a really awkward contest with a Saints side that seems to be relishing this Grinch persona they've had on the last month and a half of just ruining teams' finals hopes. Now,
doing well too. Doing well.
They are. So St Kilda for me with 4. I actually think this is the right game for the Saints. I've struggled to find games where I can actually look at them and say, this is a game they should win because of X, Y, and Z, because they haven't played particularly appealing football this year. This is the exception, though. This is very much a Ross Lyon has a field day game. It reminds me of St Kilda Fremantle games in recent years when it was one of Taberner or Lobb as the only key forward. And the Saints beat us every time we went in with one key forward. That's the feeling I get out of this game for Carlton. It's just not a nice way for them to have to win.
Yep. I'm a bit disappointed, Jesse, because I thought I was going to go a bit off kilter here with our last 3 games because I've got St Kilda with 3 as well. And yeah, I could have
You're
jumped
not
over.
change?
No, I could have jumped over to Carlton, but I'm not going to do that because I figure a 1-point deficit going into the finals is better than not that. So I can play defensive too, Jesse. I can do it as well. Because if I
playing defensive while trailing, you are Ross Lyon.
Yeah, exactly right. Listen, I'm just trying to get the ball in the goals, but sometimes you've got to defend first. Listen, I am much happier going down. Well, we've still got 1 more game to go, but I'm much happier going down by 1 or 2 than into the finals than being 4 down because that makes it very difficult for me if that is the case.
Because you've only got 9 chances to catch me in the finals.
That's it. And I don't want to be doing that. So St Kilda with 3, I think I echo your statement. Carlton have got a lot of outs. They're going to, obviously, they played with desperation against the Eagles last week, but they were also playing an Eagles team that was already looking to where they were going in September. Harley's going back to Melbourne. A couple of people going to Bali probably. Who knows? Someone might go to the Himalayas and get lost. We don't know. But they're already looking forward to it. I mean, Jamie Cribbs on the weekend was just doing this, just hands up. Like, didn't look like he was doing anything. That's where the Eagles were.
He was doing a great job at turning the stop and go sign, which is going to be his summer job apparently. Because if he's playing next year for West Coast, that's a problem with those kind of efforts.
Yep. I agree. But I think it's going to be a different kettle of fish coming up against a St Kilda, who, like you said, have just had a renaissance at the end of this season for some reason, out of nowhere. And it's interesting that in round 24, 25 if you count opening round, you have finally found a reason to tip the Saints. And that says everything that needs to be said.
It does.
Yes.
Final game of the round.
Oh, God.
Final game of the home and away season. 4:10 p.m. WA time.
So late for a Sunday.
Fremantle.
My God.
So late.
Ninth
place Fremantle.
Yep.
Versus second. Hey, don't you get in the way of TV money? Versus second place Port Adelaide. Sorry. This game defines Port Adelaide season.
Yep.
It defines Fremantle season.
Yeah.
Liam, you're up first. Who are you going with and how many points?
Yep. Okay. So here we are. It's all come down to this. Freo have had their chances throughout this season to actually solidify themselves in the top 4, let alone the finals, and they've blown it. They've absolutely bottled it. And, and fair's fair, spade is spade. Twice I've used that in this episode. That's okay. I think we've still overperformed this year based on what we've got. I'm very excited for next year. We keep a lot of this team together. I know we've heard it all before, but this is probably the first time that I can say this in earnest and actually mean it. Because I am excited for the future. I think we've got a really good team who seems to be able to, who's been rolling with the punches of being, I think Sarong came out last week and said he was sick, he was hurt, he was disgusted. He's really sad by the events that have occurred these last few weeks. They'll learn from that. Do they have what it takes, though, to beat a Port Adelaide side fighting for a home final in round 1 of the finals? Jesse, yes, I do. Freo with 1. Why not? Jump on the bandwagon.
You're going to be so disappointed.
No, I'm not. Do you know why I'm not going to be disappointed, man? Because I am a Freo fan. I'm going into this game with very little expectations. If we win, the jubilation. If we lose, I expected it. But at the end of the day, this is just a fun tipping competition. And I'm going to back the boys in with 1 confidence point. All the confidence. And back the boys in. Yeah.
This is great because now I know that you're stupid enough to tip Fremantle, whoever they play, if they make the finals. So I'm going to get this point back. Port Adelaide with 2. This is great because now I either win the confidence points and the footy tipping and get this sneering arrogance at full time to hold over you, or I'm absolutely jubilant. I'm booking the flights because we've made an elimination final and get to absolutely tout by Brisbane in a fortnight's time.
Win-win for you.
However, I think we need to address the elephant in the room here.
What's that?
If we're both wrong about both the 2 earlier games, and the Dogs game and the Carlton game go against our tips, To which, to be fair, I actually did not tip to clear a path for Fremantle, although it is very funny I've done that and then tip Port.
Yeah.
But there is a very real scenario out of this game where this game means nothing. And if this game means nothing, I think Port Adelaide will win by 10 plus goals. Because that will gut punch the players to the point where they will not be in the zone. So if that does happen, this will be Port's second biggest win of the year. Thank you, Sydney. However, Fremantle can do this. I'm not going in with the same basement expectations as you are.
No.
However, I'm just aware that the ship has sailed. Ironic for a club called the Dockers, but the ship on 2024, I think, has left. Yes, Fremantle can still make the finals. However, the fact that it's gotten to the point of being contingent on others, to me, is a wasted season. And Fremantle's record in these situations against Port Adelaide in 2005, against St Kilda in 2021, their record in these winning you're in situations is abhorrent.
It is.
It is absolutely dreadful. So
I agree.
Port will win. Port will win by more than 10 goals if it's confirmed Fremantle can't make finals.
They'll win by 11 if it's confirmed that we can. It's just how it's going to go.
That'd be really funny. Yeah.
We'll all go in going, all right, guys, here we go. We've got a chance. And okay. All right. Oh, boy. But look, at least it's an exciting last round. We've got some stakes in the last round, and that's what you want out of a season of sports. You want coming into the last round to have some moving pieces throughout the ladder, and that's what we're going to get in the last round of the season. Jesse, we've gone over half an hour. We will call it there. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
So much, but it's not a regular episode. So thank you for joining us on the Dodgy Punt AFL podcast, just the tips edition. We hope you've enjoyed all the tipping throughout season 2024 when it was part of the main podcast, when it became its own spin-off podcast. We've really enjoyed having you along for the ride, making sure you're liking, sharing, subscribing, and keeping up to date with what's happening with us in the final series, because we'll be tipping. We'll have a bit more time to analyse the games when there's only a maximum of 4. Gee, that grand final special is going to be fun. Thanks, Liam. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next week on the Dodgy Punts AFL podcast.
Bye, everybody.